Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about healing and the reasons why we seek out healing in the first place, which is for most of us is trauma. And I want to talk about how I see and perceive trauma now. I've been through it all. I've experienced many different types of trauma and have spent years and years searching for ways to heal my own trauma and to release the baggage that I was carrying that was slowly killing me from the inside out. And over the past 5 years, with all of the modalities that I've done, energy healing, sound healing, I walked the shaman's path doing plant medicine facilitation and integration, as well as attending so many plant medicine ceremonies myself for my own healing, along with, taking multiple different life coaching courses, and the list goes on and on. NLP, I just kept searching for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, because I felt like I was gathering pieces from it, and I was getting little bits of knowledge, little bits of healing from each aspect of it, but it wasn't fully giving me what I knew. I didn't know what I was searching for, but I knew I would know it. I knew I just had to keep seeking, that eventually I would be led to the truth, and I would be led to my freedom, releasing these burdens that I was carrying. And I wanted to do this not only for myself, but for the world, for other people that are on this same journey, that carried that same pain. I knew the pain of what so many are carrying, and I wanted to learn how to heal it within myself so that I could help others heal it. And here's what I've learned. Here is the conclusion of what I've come to at this point in my life, after all of that, after 5 years of deep internal transformation, where my whole life was just about healing. I didn't really have a life. I lost so many friends, and my whole life came crumbling down. I lost my relationship, and I left my relationship, and it was a good thing that I left my relationship, but my whole life has come crumbling down along with this journey, my career, everything. Not that it wasn't without intention. Like, I didn't know at the beginning, obviously, that my whole life was going to crumble. But while it was happening, I knew it had to happen, because I could feel that it was not the truth of who I was, and that I was living a lie. I had built a life upon wounds. The choices I was making were from a wounded place. The relationships I was attracting was from a wounded place. My whole world was created from wounds. The job that I had, the reason why I had the job, the reason why I was so successful in the job, how I showed up in friendships, the types of friends I attracted, how I showed up in relationships, the types of relationships I attracted, all of it. My entire world was created from my belief systems because of wounds that happened in my life. And this is where I want to talk about how trauma shapes our life, because through all of that, through all of the healing that I did, and yes, I did receive so much healing. I did receive a lot from plant medicines. I did receive a lot from teachers and coaches and different healers. I'm not saying taboo to all of it. They do serve a purpose, but the purpose that they served for me, and I feel that the purpose they are serving for the world, is to just connect us back to ourselves. That's what a true healer does. A true healer does not put themselves in a pedestal and wants you to look to them for the answers. They want to show you that you have everything that you need within yourself, that you already have all the answers that you need. And the purpose of plant medicines and healers is just that. Plant medicines in my life, and even though there's a lot of not good things happening in the plant medicine world and in the healing world, there's a lot of people that are deceiving in it. There's a lot of predators in that world. Unfortunately, that's a conversation for another day. But the plant medicines in my experience, they showed me myself. They showed me that I had the plant medicines just, and it's not even them showing, it's like a rippling of a remembrance of who we are. It just helped me remember the truth of who I am and connect enough to that to finally realize over time, with connecting me back to my voice, connecting me back to my power through singing, through speaking my truth, through setting boundaries, through realizing how poorly I was treating myself, through realizing and seeing how many wounds I was holding on to, how much judgment, how much anger, how much. It just showed me so much about myself through, through plant medicines, through meditation, through journaling, through all of the things that I have done to continue to do this inner work. The point that I'm at now and what it's concluded to now in my life is seeing trauma for what it is and seeing how trauma keeps us in timelines of suffering, and it taints our whole view of the world. And I'm seeing now how everyone that has trauma, which is most people have some sort of trauma, whether, your parents screamed at you or whatever it was, whether it be trauma with a big T or trauma with a little t, we all have some sort of trauma that is keeping us stuck in some sort of way. So if you had trauma, let's say, if you had a beautiful childhood, and when you're a child, you are pure and you are connected to that purity and that innocence, and you are living in what I like to call heaven on earth. You are in that frequency when you are a child. That is how you are viewing the world. And then for most children anyways, depending on how young your trauma happened, but for most children, they are in that state when they're very young. And when trauma happens at any point in your life, so wherever the trauma happens, let's say your trauma happens around 12 years old, how trauma works is like you're putting on these glasses, these glasses, which change the lens in which you see the world. We all see the world through a different lens. Every single person does not see the world the same, does not experience the same reality, because you are looking at the world through a completely different lens. And this lens is different because of the belief systems and the experiences you've had, or the experiences that have created the set of belief systems that you have. And most people know now the power of our beliefs, and that our beliefs are creating our reality. So, for example, if you had a traumatic experience, automatically it's like these dark glasses go on, or these lenses go on, and you see the whole world different now. And the belief systems that came with that is what's making you see the world differently. For example, a belief system of I'm not safe is a very common one when something traumatic happens to a child, or even happens to an adult. You adopt this belief subconsciously that, oh, the world is not a safe place. Oh, I can't trust people. Oh, it's not safe to be in my body. Oh, all of these belief systems that come with the experience that get created. And then those belief systems are now altering our reality. They're altering the lens in which we experience and see the world. And then we get external validation for those beliefs, because if we believe it, we are creating it. So if we believe we cannot trust people, then we're going to experience the truth of that playing out in our reality. If we believe that the world is not a safe place, we're going to see proof of that, because that belief system is creating it. So you're going to see that in the world. You're going to see people doing evil things. You're going to experience that in your reality. You're going to experience people over and over and over again that you can't trust, that are breaking your trust because you believe that no one is trustworthy. And that belief comes from whatever the experience was that created that in the first place. And until you clear those belief systems and let go of the story of the trauma, you will just keep perpetuating these in your reality. And it doesn't matter how many times you go to a healer, they can't clear that for you. You have to do it. And how you do that is you have to let go of the trauma. You don't have to keep diving into it and reliving it and reliving it and reliving it. I have done this. I've done this so many times where I went back into the trauma over and over again, trying to heal it. But the key is, and yes, trying to heal it has helped in some ways. I'm not saying all of our journeys are different, all of our paths are different, and this is the path that my soul chose, and this was the path that I needed to now understand this, because I've tried everything. I figured out what worked and what didn't, and some of what didn't work was needed. I needed to go down all of these paths to get where I am now, which is seeing that we can simply let go of the story. As I see trauma now, it's like the moment the trauma happened, you're here in your purity, you're pure and innocent in the truth of who you are. Trauma happens, the experience of trauma happens, and that experience, it's like oil in water. It's like it just spreads and like taints that purity, covers it up. And then you experience the world from that wounded place. And that wounded place in you, even when you're 30, 40 years old, however you are, 80 years old, even later on in your life, if you still have not let go of that wound within you, you are still, this aspect of yourself, that wounded aspect of yourself, is stuck in the past. This is why it's so important to let go of the wound. And I like how I see, when I see people now, I can see that they are still living life from a wounded place. There are still wounds in them that they are living their life from. You could see the inner child in them. When you can see the inner child in someone, you can see an inner child in a positive way, not that like I want to say negative, but you can also see a wounded inner child in people. And that's when or you can see their inner teenager, you can see aspects of themselves that are held back, stuck in the timeline, in the point of time, or in the timeline, in that point of time where that trauma happened, where that traumatic experience happened. Anything in time that you are holding on to is holding you to that moment in time, and you're not allowing your soul and your soul to expand. You're not fully allowing yourself to be free and continue on your path, because there's strings holding aspects of yourself in these wounded places. These wounds are keeping you stuck, and you can simply just let go of them. And this is not meant to sound insensitive, because I know how hard it is to feel that, and I know that it seems crazy that you can just let go of them, but you can. All of this work I've done was just to come to the realization, oh, I can just let go of it. But are you willing to let go of it? That's the thing. You may have a belief that, oh, I have to do a lot of hard work to heal. It is your beliefs that keep you believing that you can't simply just let go of it. The inner work to do is around your belief systems. It's not to keep diving into the trauma and keep talking about it and re-looping it. It's to work with the belief systems that are keeping you stuck. What are you believing about your wounds? Are you waiting to be validated? Are you waiting for someone to apologize to you that may never apologize to you? Are you holding on to it because there's a part of you, an aspect of you that enjoys being a victim, that is addicted to being a victim, and you don't even know it? Are you holding on to it because it has become part of your identity now, because you've identified with someone who has that trauma, who has that wound, because you've told that story so many times? Oh yeah, I've experienced this in my childhood. Oh yeah, I've experienced this. Oh yeah, I've experienced this in my childhood. In so many of these healing circles, I started to see how people were just telling the same story again. This happened, this happened, this happened. I'm like, why are we all just looping in those stories? Like, I could feel the energy of that, and how it's just this victimization energy, and everyone's so attached and identifying with the stories of what has happened to them. So you have to let it go if you want to move forward. You have to let it go if you want to return to that purity. Give it back to God. Give it to Source. Give it to Creator. Let it go. You don't have to keep healing. You don't have to be on this hamster wheel anymore. You don't have to be stuck in time. There's an aspect of you frozen in time. All the aspects of yourself that are wounded. And so many of us have carried so many wounds. When you notice a wound come up, in that moment, dissolve it and let it go. In that moment, bring love to it and let it go. Thank you for the experience. Thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for the people, even the person that wounded you. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you, my teacher. You are here. Your soul is here to learn and to grow, and we are all teachers for each other. Don't allow what happened, what the experiences that were meant to just teach you, keep you looping in timelines of suffering, keeping you stuck in bondage. They were just meant to teach you. Everything is here, everything that we are here to experience is just meant to help us grow and evolve and to return to love over and over and over again, because that is the truth of who we are. You are love. You are pure, unconditional love. And we are learning how to return to that right now. This is the great return to love. And if you think of heaven on earth, you know, so many people are understanding that in some way, shape, or form, whatever your spiritual background is, whatever, if you're Christian, if you're whatever it is, we all believe that this is the great return to love. We are, whether we have different names for it and we have a different idea of what we think is going to go down, what we think is happening, it's all the same thing. We all know something really big is happening right now. And if you think of returning to heaven, which is on earth, the kingdom of heaven is within us. Heaven is returning through us, through us. This is what I believe. This is what I know to be true within me, that heaven is returning from within, because God is within. The answers are within. Everything you need is within. And right now, we're just being asked, or what I've been experiencing is to let go of the stories, of the burdens, of the shackles. Shed it all. Shed the stories. Shed the identities. What are you identifying with? That is keeping you stuck. It's not the truth of who you are. You have to be willing to let it all go. Lay it all down. Lay it all down. Then you will see the kingdom of God. Lay it all down. It is emerging through you. The truth is emerging through you, but you have to let go of the distortions in your field, of the distortions in your reality. Clear the beliefs that are creating the distorted realities. Take space from, create detachment from the wounds when you notice them come up, and the stories of whatever your experiences are with your family and your friends. It's all a story. Start seeing everything as a story. You are here. You're this pure divine being of light and love. And everything that's ever happened to you, everything that's ever been experienced in this lifetime so far for you, is just the story in your energy field. And all of these stories keep an aspect of you frozen in time, frozen to a certain energy, frozen and tied to a certain frequency, a certain moment in time. So detach from it, take a step back, create some space, see it all as stories. Be in your center and see yourself as the pure divine light and love that you are, and see all of this outside of you, not in you. Don't identify with it. See it all as stories, just floating around. They're not who you are. They're not the truth of who you are. They're not even true. They're not true about the world. All of it, it's not true. They're just stories that are keeping us stuck and looping in timelines of suffering. And this is what we are here to clear. This is the experience that we came here for. This is the experience I know I came here for. I know that I signed up for all of the harsh experiences, all the traumas I experienced, so that I could clear them, so that I could learn how to do what I'm doing now, how to do what I've been doing for years. To go through the process of understanding and trying all of these different paths and all of these different modalities to finally just remember the truth of who I am and allow that truth to rise up more and more and more every day, and to see that we are love, and anything that is not love gets to leave. We get to let it go. We complicate it. It's so much simpler than we know. It's so much simpler than we make it. We tend to complicate it as humans. I don't know why we do this, but we think things have to be hard. We think we have to work hard for things. We think we have to, we've adopted all of these belief systems that make life harder for ourselves. But it's just about the belief systems. What you believe, you are creating. Another thing I want to go back to the concept of the lens, because this is what has been shown to me over the last few months, and how I've been seeing trauma is like this lens, and then you see the whole world totally different, and you're seeing the world totally different than anyone else, and a lot of people have trauma, so a lot of people are seeing the world through some sort of distorted lens. But when this happens, even the way, we have there's scientific studies showing that when trauma happens, even our brain waves change in the way that so much changes inside of us, inside of our bodies as well. So we shift into a total different state of being because of these experiences. But also another thing that I've seen happen, and I know to be true, is, and it may not be everyone's experience, as we all internalize things differently, but the moment trauma has inserted itself in our energy field, the moment that trauma, I just see it as a chip, that gets inserted in us, like a computer chip in a computer. It gets inserted in us and our whole programming changes, and we see the world totally different. And when this happens, all of the memories from before, from the memories when we were in our purity and we were young and connected to the truth of who we are, and we were in that state of unconditional love and seeing the world from love and from purity, even those memories, those young childhood memories, it's like they didn't exist. They whether get tainted, it's all of a sudden everything in your world, everything that has happened, everything that is now, and everything that ever was that you remember, it's all tainted. The happy, joyful memories, whether you don't really remember them and they're hazy, or they all feel tainted, and you can't even remember a time where you felt that innocence and that purity and that truth of who you are. But what is happening now is I keep feeling these waves of this purity coming in. I keep feeling these waves of this light, of this energy that we're stepping into, or that is coming through us, not stepping into, that is returning. Our purity is returning. Not that it was ever gone, but that's what it feels like. It feels like it's returning because it feels like it left, and it feels like it's been gone for so long. And I keep getting these waves of feeling it again, but it's like waking up from a bad dream. Letting go of the trauma, letting go of the stories, letting go of the suffering, letting go of the pain. It's like waking up from a dream. Like someone unplugs this chip out of you, and all of a sudden you can see clearly again, and you're like, oh my God. Like you just see everything clearly again. It's like, yeah, the glasses come off, and it's like you just woke up from the most horrific, hellish dream where everything and everyone was in suffering and bondage. And this is what we are waking up from. And this waking up is something so internal. This is an internal process that is already naturally happening, but it does take our participation in letting go of the stories and letting go as things come to the surface, and to stop looping in the same. We have to do something different. We can't keep, we have to break the pattern. This has been happening for generations, where people have been looping and then just create and programming the next generation, the next generation, the next generation, and it just continues. And we're at a breaking point. We know this, you know, half the world is medicated just to be able to survive. We can't do this anymore. We are at a breaking point. It is time, and it's happening whether we like it or not. It's time. The time is now. The awakening is now. I like to call it the remembering. We are remembering. We are waking up from the dream and remembering the truth of who we are. We are remembering that we are all children of God, that we are pure, that we are light, and that we are love, and that these stories do not get to be in our reality anymore. These trauma, these pains, all of it, none of it gets to be in our reality anymore, and it will not be in our reality anymore. But you have to choose it. We have free will in this. So you have to choose to let go of it. Are you willing to let go of it? It can be as simple as that, but you have to be willing. And it has been a process for me, because when I'm in the process of letting go of the stories that are coming up, there's aspects of myself that want to hold on to it. And it's the wounded aspects of ourselves that want to hold on to the stories, that want to hold on the wounds. Well, I want an apology. Well, you know, it hurts so much. There is this like sense of addiction in society, or addiction in the collective. We're in a way we are addicted to suffering. So it's about noticing what comes up when we think about letting go of these stories. What are the stories coming up when we want to let go of a story? What are we telling ourselves? What's the reason why we want to hold on to this? Are we afraid we won't know who we are if we don't have this story? Are we afraid we don't know who we are if we let go of the identity of who we think we are, the job title, all of these different things, the coach, the healer, the blah, 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 the endless things that we identify with? Why are we holding on to them? Are we afraid of who we are if we let it all go? Are we afraid to find out who we are underneath it all? What are you afraid of, and what are the reasons that you are holding on to those stories, to the pain, to the trauma? And to let them go so that you can return to the truth of who you are. So that you can just see clearly, so you can take off the lenses that are distorting your entire reality. And you can see the truth, and you can see heaven on earth. But it begins within. I hope this video makes sense, and I hope it helps someone out there. Much love.